Sometimes all we need is only one more chance. So try, build that bridge over troubled waters, fly. If that's all that you have left to do, I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face, love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more sorrows, no more bad days, no more cries, no more dark cold place, no more fear, no more fight. Someone told me long ago that life is just a long road. Sorry babe, but life to me is way much more. No matter what it seems to be, it's always time to make a change. Sometimes all we need is only one more chance. So try, build a bridge over troubled water, fly. If that's all that you have left to do, I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face, love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more sorrow, no more bad days, no more cries, no more dark cold place, no more fear, no more fight. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face, love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more sorrow, no more bad days, no more cries, no more dark cold place, no more fear, no more fight. Let the sun walk on the way, shine, shine. Let the sun walk down the way, shine, 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 shine.
Never lose your faith and live right
together. It's always good to do the good. I do believe the world can be better, and I know that you believe it too. Papa, Mama, brothers and sisters, let's get ready for our new dawn. This is the time for those big changes we have all been waiting for so long. Listen to this call, the time is right now. Here is the place, so let's move in a faster pace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace. It's always good to getting together. It's always good to do the good. I do believe the world can be better, and I know that you believe it too. Papa, Mama, brothers and sisters, let's get ready for our new dawn. This is the time for those big changes we have all been waiting for so long. Listen to this call, the time is right now. Here is the place, so let's move in a faster pace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace. Listen to this call, the time is right now. Here is the place, so let's move in a faster pace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace.
Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky, gray bushy beard, Santa's look alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living joy, or in pain. Blue crystal eyes, colors of the sky, gray bushy beard, Santa's look alike. Shine on your brothers on earth, suffering, living pain, or in pain. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Good, receive our prayers and also our heart. Bezerra de Menezes, Apostle of the Light, place our pain at the feet of Jesus Christ. Source of love that radiates, warming up our cold nights, support and comfort, support and comfort. Cascades flown down the mountain, calling the children of earth with love in their heart, with love in their heart. My soul never loses hope, because your love always teaches me the solution lies in hard work. The solution ocean lies in hard work. Oh, my mother Zephyrina, harvest of wonderful blessings. Make your small son a good Christian. Make your small son a good Christian. When life lends a hand, it's time to open up your heart. It is time to love one another. It's time to take part. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. When you give our heart in charity, our lives are transforming into songs. Our dreams become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity. Vibrates always, loving and serving everyone. Vibrates always, loving and serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, our lives are transforming into songs. Our dreams become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our public meeting. We thank everyone for joining us tonight. Before we start, we would like to share a couple of announcements. We ask that you turn off your phone notifications and find a quiet place during this time if possible. Our meeting will have 30 minutes presentation followed by a Q&A. Following the presentation, we will have a spiritual treatment with passes and magnetized water. So we invite you to set aside a container with water to be magnetized. And now we have a special invitation for those who want to learn more about Spiritism. Next Saturday, March 5th at 5:15 p.m. East, we will have an online and free class on our course Get to Know Spiritism. The theme of this week's meeting will be Allan Kardec and the Spiritism Doctrine. What an amazing topic! If you are interested, join us, and the registration link will be posted in the chat. And we also would like to announce that our today's public meeting is being retransmitted today by Continental Crafers Americas through their Facebook, and will be also retransmitted every Wednesday at 8 p.m. by Kardec Radio through their Facebook. We also invite everyone to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube from the Spiritism Canada Spiritism Group Path of Light. And now we would like to get started with an initial prayer, and I invite everyone to join me in this prayer. So let's close our eyes, calm our hearts, and elevate our thoughts to our Master Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity to be here tonight, learning about your teachings of love and kindness. We ask for your blessing and protection for all the work that will be done tonight. We trust that you will be with us today and always. So be it. And today we have a special meeting, and the topic of today's meeting is being awake. And it will be facilitated by our friend Ana Oliveira from Alabama, US. Our meeting will be transmitted through Facebook and YouTube, and everyone is welcome to write comments and questions in the chat, and we will be addressing the questions at the end of the talk. And now I would like to invite our tonight's speaker. Welcome, Ana.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Today, we're going to talk about this message, being awake, from this book, Challenge and Solutions, by the medium Divaldo Franco and by the spirit Joana de Angelis. All right. So let's get started. So before we start, just talking a little bit about this series from Divaldo. There are many books in this series. Life Challenge and Solutions is only one. It's a whole series of books that they call the psychological series of Joana de Angelis, and is based on what is called transpersonal psychology, or spiritual psychology. So it puts together this spiritual, um, tries to integrate the spiritual side of people also with, this human experience that we have. So if you think about, you have to have a reference in the psychologists, in psychoanalysis will be Carl Jung. And one example of some practices that take this type of psychology, it will be like mindfulness, right? But a big disclaimer, I'm not a psychologist, right? I'm just here as a spiritist, talking to other spiritists and trying to learn, more and more from this message. So it is a short message, and we were just breaking down, from pieces by pieces, and just reflect a little bit on it. All right. Oops. All right. So she starts kind of with a big warning to us, because she says humankind in general lives in a sleep state, in lethargy. And that is why people suffer the worst sickness possible. And she says that is ignorance of themselves, their destiny, and their meaning of their existence, right? So it's a lot to unpack right there, right? So she's telling us that we usually, as a humankind, as human beings, we live asleep, not awake, right? And I know that sometimes, actually not sometimes, but nowadays this term awake has some, bad connotations for some people, bad meanings. But here we're talking about the spiritual awakening, and she's going to tell us what is, what is the difference between this sleep state that she says that's our kind of default, that's what we like. So she's saying that we are in lethargy, right? So we are kind of a little lazy, a little not moving, right? um, and that brings us suffering, because that makes our spirit sick, because we do not know who we are. We do not know who which is our destiny and the meaning of our existence, right? So, you know, when we think about that, how many times recently have we asked ourselves, what is our destiny, right? So have you asked yourself that? What is our destiny? What is the meaning of my existence? Am I here just to pay bills? Is that what I have to do? Just wake up, go to work, pay bills, come back, pay more bills, right? It seems like it's a by the time you pay your bills and they come in the mail, you pay them again, and then it's time for them to come back in the mail, right? So what is the meaning of this adulting? Like my daughter says, Mom, this adulting thing is hard, right? And it is. So what is being an adult in terms of a spirit, right? Is it staying asleep in this comfortable place, or is waking up, right? So she continues saying that we are comfortable in our situation. So then we complain. We complain, we complain, we complain, but we do almost nothing to change our society's ills. Ills that often are characteristics of ourselves as well, due to our masochists' need to inspire pity. They bemoan themselves. They yield to circumstances out of self indulgence and make no real effort to overcome any obstacle that may pose a threat or hindrance to their progress. So she tells us that, this sleep state is because we just like, we just like good things. We don't like to go through hard times or anything like that. Just like, it's self-indulgence, just like this little girl in this picture with this nice ice cream, right? We don't want to look at any other thing, and we don't, who wants to be taking obstacles away? Those things are actually really hard, you know this thing that she says here, that we complain but we do not do anything to really change society skills. I mean, we know from Spiritism that, you know the society or earth, right, a planet, is made out of people who live in it, right? We are in a world of trial and expiation, because most of us, because the evil is still predominates. But once we all change, then it's when the world will change. It's not something like physical, where it's on the earth itself only. It starts with us, the inhabitants here, right? So this message and other messages that I have received, this time, it made me really think we all are very worried about the situation, the war in Ukraine and everything. So we keep sometimes questioning, how can one country not talk to the other one, not understand the other one? But if we look in a micro level, sometimes how we are expecting, countries to actually talk to each other, respect each other, if we cannot even solve our relationships in a small scale. Sometimes we're still fighting within our families. It's not easy sometimes to have peace at work, right? Even within a whole city, people sometimes even resort to violence just because they might cheer for two different teams, right? So if we think, it's not something out there, the things that happen, they are kind of a reflection of our own society, and the only way to change those things is to change ourselves, right? To work on each one of ourselves, right? She starts and she talks a little bit too, about, this thing also about inspiring pity, instead of having a more courageous way to say to face life, right? And I think we can see that how it's easier to just see, oh, poor me, poor Anna, she has all these difficulties. It's better if she just stays there. How can she really, withstand all of that and overcome all of that, instead of saying, right, come on, Anna, it's difficult your life, or this is not that great, but you can do it, right? So I think towards this message, that's what Joanna is telling us, is that don't look just at you from outside and from circumstances that you have right now, but look at the possibilities, right? But she's still setting this stage and telling us how it's usually the default and the most comfortable place for us. She says unconsciousness, and what she calls unconsciousness is actually this sleep state conscious. That's what she means by that. She says it prevails in modern world because it gives into immediate gratification with no follow-up plan for attaining liberating emotions. Thus, society is divided into surreptitious, mutually hostile groups that grow further apart each day, whereas they should work together to eliminate separatist barriers and become aware of their infinite potential for self realization and spiritual awakening, right? And that's another uh, problem, right, with being asleep, not being awake, right? Not working on ourselves, not living to our full potential, is that instead of working to really live the God's plan for each and every one of us, that is actually for all of us to be one big family, right? We start to make groups. And, the more that I just accept who I am right now, not what I can be, then, to stay in this place, I have to find others like me. And this is actually dividing us as a whole group instead of, working together. Because, to work together, to become this big group, we have to first have a lot of acceptance, right? I have to accept me with all that is in me, like the good, the bad, and the ugly that makes Anna. I need to accept all of that and work for that, but I have to accept everybody else too, just the way they are. Like, right? Like the song, I love you just the way you are. That's what I have to do. So that is a lot of work, right? Instead of just, living the status quo thinking, right? That's why she talks about immediate gratification. So if I forget that we are immortal spirits, that there are many births or incarnations, right? That there is the law of cause and effect. So everything that I do, I have choice, but every choice I make has a consequence that I will face, right? 5 minutes from now, 2 hours, 10 days, 10 years, or three reincarnations from now. So instead of thinking about that and then really working, I'm just thinking, well, all I have is the now, so I can just really, be oblivious to my true self, that is this immortal spirit, right? So she's really saying that we have to try to eliminate the separatist barriers that we have among ourselves, right? But to do that, I really have, to do a lot of work. I have to do a lot of work in terms of acceptance of myself and others and of change, right? Because if I want to change anything, then I have to start, with myself, right? She says, but the moment inevitably arrives when individuals are induced to either awaken or remain dead to reality. So even though She just told us, right, in these three paragraphs, what is usually our status quo, or our default, that is easier for us to just pretend like we're not immortal spirits, that we can be sleeping, right? uh, there is a moment, there are things that come, because if we think that Christ have been calling each and every one of us, God only knows for how many incarnations, right? Come over here, right? Come work in my vineyard. Come be, a sheep in my herd. Come help me construct the kingdom of God that can be starting right here. Come. I am the way, the truth, the light. Come. But how many times we are just letting that invitation of the Christ to pass by, right? So she says that there are, because God is so good to us, right? He's just, but he's merciful and good. So he keeps inviting us, right, to these moments of wake up, son, like we do for our kids, right, in the morning when they're young and they don't want to go to class, right, and to school, and like, come on, wake up, right? So she says that in order for us to awaken from this heavy sleep, we must make every effort possible to break the chains of self pity and unhappiness, self deprecation, and self disrespect. So it takes a little bit of time, I think, and maturity and awareness, really. And, for us to really see that, you know, sometimes our thoughts, our feelings, they can chain us, right? And that happiness is really a choice, right? Most of the time, it's much easier, again, if I'm in that sleepy stage, to just attach my happiness to someone, to something, to a situation. But the moment that I accept that my happiness depends only on myself, that's my choice, then I'm free. And I think sometimes we don't know what to do with all this freedom, right? When we see that, self-deprecation, self-disrespect, that is really chains us, right?
Anna, your microphone.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry. So, every time that we actually take our happiness to ourselves, right? I own that, and I know that is my choice to be happy. Then that is liberating. That is freedom. And sometimes we do not know what to do with that, right? So, this thing about just feeling like I'm the worst person, that doesn't make me move. That doesn't bring me from this sleep state to this awake state. It actually keeps me frozen, right? And without prospering, without progressing. So she says that being awake means a self fulfillment, being aware of one's inner reality and the infinite possibilities for growth there are within one reach. So that is the key, right? Even though sometimes, people tell us things that we feel so bad, that we accept all of that, we feel shame and we feel guilty, but that's not our reality, right? That's not the infinite possibilities of growth that we have. That is one thing that is very valid, is one sentiment and one feeling that we are having that is very valid, and it's how we're feeling. But that one thing cannot define who we are, because we are much more than that. Our the definition of who we are is much beyond that one circumstances, right? So she says that it means freeing ourselves from the fears that keep us immobilized in useless, rediscovering the joy of living and acting, right? So this thing about this rediscovering the joy of living and acting, right? Just practicing that. Sometimes when we have this big to-do list, right, and then we do one thing, we feel so much better, right, because we completed something, right? So that's the thing, right? Rediscovering this joy of saying, okay, I did something, right? Broadening one's communication with nature and all living beings, right? So it's not through isolation that we're gonna get there, right? It's by being with others, right? So it says also, she says that this awakening will come from multiplying the means of human dignification and making them available to everybody. So she's talking about practicing charity, as I understand this, right? It's to actually, even if we feel that we don't have everything that we need, but still sharing something with somebody that you already have, your time, your skills, right, your talents, or even your material things too, because we know that some people don't have it. She says is also submitting oneself to the eloquent purpose of enlightenment found everywhere. So is this also idea that we can have, that we are gonna we should go in life with this open-minded and open-hearted mindset, so that we don't miss the opportunities, right? Because God is so merciful, and his mercy and his resources, his providence is everywhere, right? He's showering us with all his love and all his um, wisdom through many different ways. But if we are isolated, or if we restrict ourselves, then we are not actually looking, for we are not actually allowing ourselves to receive those blessings that he gives us, right? And she says is it's found everywhere, right? And then she starts giving us some examples in this message of other people throughout history, that actually can actually exemplify this awakening. So she starts talking about the Apostle Paul. She says that he was so convinced of the value of awakening to consciousness that in Ephesians 5:14 he said, "Wake up, you who sleep, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you." Right? She says that this is because sleep is a form of death, a wasted educational, enlightening, therapeutical, enriching opportunity. So, this is our destiny. This is the purpose of our lives, right? Is this educational, enlightening, therapeutical, enriching opportunity. So, if instead of living it to the fullest, then we are in this sleep state, then as if we were, we were not living, we were dead, right? And the Christ himself, he said that he came so that we could have life, but life in abundance, right? Sometimes we think we're living, but all that is happening is that our pulse is still, pulsing there, breathing. Yeah, we're still breathing, but that doesn't mean that we're living, Or even if we are in the other spectrum, sometimes people think that, live and live in abundance is just to be partying all the time and doing all those things. And we know that that's not what the Christ talked about too, right? So, that's why, the wake up comes even from Paul for us. This invitation, so that we don't waste, right? We don't lose sight of this opportunity that is here for us, right? So she says, in this sense, when the individuals are awake, Jesus illuminates them so that they may advance courageously in their search for self identification. So, you know, uh, God it's so, it's such a wonderful Father, but He wants us to do something. Christ is our big brother, but He's not gonna make us do something, but He's always there. He will invite us, He will cheer us to do something, and the moment we take that step, He's right there. So but it has to start from us, right? Because if it starts from us, then the merit is ours. Jesus already has a lot of merit, right? He already conquered his own path, and he has been helping all of us in that. So now it's our time to actually do something for ourselves too, right? So, she says, once we take that step, then when we open our eyes, we're like, okay, I want to be awake. Then Jesus come and put this bright light right on top of us that we cannot dare to just go to sleep again. It's bright. It's like it's sun outside, right? Just that's how I feel sometimes. It's so hard for me to wake up in the winter, and in winter in Alabama, it's nothing like the winter in Canada. Anyway, I'll give you that. But sometimes when it's so dark outside, but if the sun is shining, then you're like, okay, it's time for me to awake. Our body, our physiology already knows that too, right? So that's what it's saying. We take that first step, we open our eyes, and then Jesus comes and illuminates us, right? So that we can advance courageously, right? Sometimes I think we forget how being courageous it's really something that it's in line with being Christian, right? That's what Jesus is asking for us, right? To follow him, but to pick up our cross and then follow him, right? To help others, to serve others as we are following him. um, she continues talking about that all victors have been persons awakened to their endeavor and commitment to life, aware of their own worth without sentimentality or psychological flights of self deprecation and self punishment. So, unfurling the banner of courage, they enter the battle, overcoming vices and developing virtues on the immense field of the conscious, like Krishna proposal to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, that marvelous canticle of psychological dignity and saga about a victor over his own passions, right? So, that's why she says that those people that seems to have this amazing journey is because they actually woke up to life with that courageous thing, with that self-love, without that sentimentality, right? So it's like accepting who we are, not just being saying, oh, poor thing, no self-deprecation, but also no self-punishment too, right? That's what sometimes we go through that route knowing that God, it's not punish anybody. He's so merciful. He gives us second chances, third chances, 100 chances, a thousand, how many we need, right? She continues giving an example, saying that the awakened individual do not allow themselves the cunning of Sisyphus or the cruelty of Zeus, characters that felt the need to display their strength and power in the fragility of the immature and unconscious human being. So This is so important, so that even if we have doubts, it doesn't mean that somebody is better than others if they use violence, right? So uh, will things that were not created by God stay? No, they will not, right? But do we have to fight that fight with using power over other people, violence of any kind? No, that's not the example that Jesus gave us, right? His example at the cross was uh, of love at the utmost time, not, paying evil with good, not evil with evil, and continuing, right? That connection with God. And because he was connected with the Father so much, he was very peaceful during that time, right? So, we don't need to display. It's this being awake is not about displaying strength and power. You saw from the other examples, it's all within ourselves, right? It's the way we see each other, is the way that we interact with others, right? She says that when the prince Siddhartha, right, became Buddha, when he allowed himself to be enlightened by awaking from his lethargy, one of the disciples asked him after a lesson, Lord, have you found God? And if so, where? And the missionary thought for a moment, and then he answered without preambles. After penetrating my own reality, I found God in my innermost being, in great serenity and dignifying activity. Right? So that's where God is. That is where the best of us is in our innermost being. But you see here, with great serenity, right? Not the self-deprecation, not that, bad things about it, but taking things naturally, when a more serene, accepting things in a more peaceful way. But it says to in dignifying activity, right? It doesn't also mean, just staying, on the same place. She says that when individuals are awake, victories and discoveries are internal. How important is that, and how timely, right, is this? So, the victories and discoveries that we should be seeking, they should come from inside. And she says that they are resplendent and peaceful. They are these victories that come from inside. They are powerful as lightning, yet gentle as a morning breeze, right? If we can really, imagine this definition, right? That's really, what we get. So everything, the victories, the discoveries that we get, they are internal, resplendent, peaceful, powerful light as lightning, gentle as a morning breeze. She says, bearers of life. So again, living, but living in abundance, living all that we are, right? Living to our potential. They lead other people to self-assurance, enabling them to understand those who remain asleep, who have no interest in self-awareness or the end purpose of existence. So, this is really what they she's talking about here. It's like once we become awake, we are bearer of life. So we live in abundance, and we want us others to do that too, right? We want to self-assure others, to help them too, and say, look, you don't know me, 5 minutes ago or 10 years ago or 3 lives ago, but if I could, take these steps, you can do it too, right? She says they do not become irritated, uh, wary, or upset with those who assail, persecute, and seek to afflict them. And what a powerful, that is really the true definition of serenity, right? is not to be irritated, wary, or upset with anybody who is trying to, to say that you are not on your path, that they're trying to annoy you, because you were so into yourself, that you are so aware of yourself, who you are, that you become above, a lot of the things that, that happens. Um, I just have a few more comments, and this message is actually, finishing. There are just two more short paragraphs about it. But I hope you're getting the theme, right? That the awakening is really the living, the true living to our potentials. It's accepting and enjoying this experience that we have here. So she says, and she gives another example of this awakening and how it can be. She says, upon meeting Jesus, Mary Magdalene awoke from her madness and was completely transformed. Paul of Tarsus woke up after Jesus called to him, and he was never the same thereafter. Francis of Assisi accepted the Master's invitation and was reborn, abandoning the old man to become nature's scanner. After awakening to reality, then she also talk about, people in art, in science, in thought, in religion, in love, like, Leonardo da Vinci, Galileo, Newton, Rene Descartes, Pasteur, Albert Schweitzer. Uh, he says that these people changed the course and lifted humankind to a greater beauty and broader happiness. So she's talking about, it's all about me, but me, myself, and I, but how also not me, myself, and I that just isolates, themselves. It's actually the ones that know, I know myself, and I actually have the courage to accept others and to work with others and help them in their path too, so that we all can be, working on this broader happiness. So she finishes with this one sentence, the 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 message here. She says that being awake means to evolve, free of prejudices and limitations, open to the good and to the truth, for which one has become a trailblazer and disseminator. Right. So I love that she talks about prejudices and limitations, because I feel like limitations, she's talking about the limitations that we put on ourselves. But when she talks about prejudices is really limitations that we put to other people, right? We limit them into a prejudged category that we have, that we think we know how to define them even before we even get to know them. So, it's that's really not what she's been talking to us about, right? She's talking really about being open-minded, open-hearted, right? To listen to people, to be there with people, to not isolate ourselves in small groups, but to be there for one another, right? As I work on myself, right, when I'm open to the good and to the truth, and now I become somebody who really wants to seek that, and I want to disseminate that because it's going to transform myself, so then I want that to transform others too. So, this is my humble reflection with you guys here about this message. From this book, Life Challenges and Solutions, is actually chapter 6, when she talks about aspects of life. So she talks a little bit about youth and old age. Then she talks about this message of being awake, and then she finishes the chapter with the joy of living. So I invite you to to look at this series. There are a lot of these books that are already in English, so you can actually acquire and reflect yourself. So if you guys have any questions, and I just want to thank you all again for allowing me to be here and to share this moment with you guys.
Thank you, Anna, for your presentation and reflections on this topic today. And I don't know about our public, but feels like I need to hear everything that you were saying today. So, yes, we have a question from Publio. Why is it so difficult to leave our comfort zone? I guess
I
everyone wants to know that.
I don't know if I stopped sharing my screen. Hopefully, yes. But yeah, so that is the thing. I think she talks about that. It's, we don't like to work that much, right? We like things. I usually say that it isn't it like, even in Portuguese there's this thing: if the team is winning, don't change the
Don't
team,
change.
right? Yeah, don't change the players, don't sub anybody and everything. I think it, like she said in the beginning, that is usually our default, because it's hard, if you do not want to do the work in yourself, but with a lot of self-love. That's what I feel like sometimes, if we want to make those changes, but if it's not covered with a lot of self-love, we can actually hurt ourselves more than,
Mhm.
so it's that's the thing. It's we just have this default, like she said, that we usually, as humankind, we are all asleep. But
Mhm.
then comes the moment, and I think life gives us these opportunities, these challenges and solutions. So it comes the challenge that says, okay, are you gonna continue sleeping, or are you gonna be awake? Now.
Yeah, and it made me think about that. Sometimes it can be overwhelming when you think
Hmm.
in your whole life, oh, what I need to change and what I need to start improving in
Right.
myself, right? So
Right.
when you think in all the things, like it can be overwhelming, but we
Right.
forget that we actually need to go step by step, right? It's not like everything in just one day you will change everything. No, right? Like you
Right.
said about the to-do list. So yeah,
Right.
we need to do like a to-do list to do step by step.
Right. It starts small and then go from there, because like anything that we want to change in life.
So we have one more question. What will be the consequences if we do not awake?
Yeah, so like she was saying, if then we don't progress, right? Then we are not going to live our lives to the fullest, right? We're gonna not going to live to our possibilities. We're not going to blossom as a spirit, right? With all the possibilities. So we'll be missing out, right? If you're
Mhm.
sleeping, you're missing out, right? It's just like right here on earth, right? If somebody is watching or doing something at home, but somebody's asleep, they are just missing out.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Anna, once again.
You're
And thank you
welcome.
for everyone on the participating in the chat. And now we are going to move on to the preparation for tonight's spiritual treatment. So, passes is the transfusion of spiritual energy with the goal of assisting with our physical, emotional, and mental balance. Passes help us to restore a state of harmony and peace by replacing negative energy with health and positive energy. In order to receive the best benefits from passes, please follow the audio instructions or remain in prayer. You may close your eyes to help the mentalization. During the pass, the water you set aside will also be absorbing the spiritual energy, and your family and you can benefit from. And now we are going to make the prayer in preparation for the pass, and which will be our closing prayer as well. So join me. Let's close our eyes and elevate our thoughts once again, mentalizing the friendly and loving smile from our Master Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for this great talk today. Thank you for inspiring our guest speaker, Anna, today, bringing this message about being awake. May we accept the invitation today and take a step towards our spiritual awakening. May we accept who we are and start our path towards the light through your teachings of love and kindness and charity. May everyone receive the benefits of the spiritual treatment that will start soon, and that we never forget that no matter what situation we are in right now, we are facing in our family, in our lives, in our country, you will always be with us today, tomorrow, and always. So be it.
Let us now prepare ourselves for the moment of the passes and the magnetization of water. Let's now calm our hearts, breathing in and out. Pay attention to your body. Focus on your breath and let yourself be carried by this energy. Let your thoughts pass by without judging them. Let them flow. Allow this light to be the beacon that guides you, and allow these words to penetrate your energy. Make each word an anchor of gratitude, faith, and trust. With the purpose of healing, which takes away my faith, healing every feeling of separation, of pain, let it all dissolve in this moment, leaving only love, gratitude, and trust. We ask God for the presence of our guardian angel and the friendly spirits who welcome us into this enlightened environment of our Spiritist Center. We open our plexus of love and forgiveness by mentalizing a light surrounding our hearts. Find a quiet and comfortable place to begin the mentalization process. Remove all worries from your thoughts. We ask that during the pass you breathe slowly and deeply. Let your body relax and surrender yourself to a deep meditation. Calmly imagine divine energies in soft and colorful light surrounding you in an environment of peace and spiritual warmth. Entrusting God with your most intimate desires, raise your thoughts to Jesus and the emissaries of the spiritual environment. The path begins with the cleansing of your soul. Imagine a waterfall of crystal clear water pouring over us, removing all the feelings that keep you away from faith and trust. Feel the energy of this water bathing you and deeply breathe in, feeling peace and harmony. Allow this water to wash away all the impurities and spiritual larvae, washing away all the sorrows and resentments, any feelings of hatred and revenge that hold us back and cause us harm, not only from this life, but past ones as well. Now visualize spiritual doctors around you, applying magnetic cleansing passes, sanitizing your spiritual body of all sadness and negative energy. Mentalize these negative thoughts and feelings being washed away, evaporating from your soul, like water evaporating into thin air, and being carried far away from your mind. Surround yourself with the faith that bathes your being, bringing clarity and lucidity, rebalancing every cell in your body. May the water envelop all pain and bring the clarity of opportunity that chooses peace. The answer arises in our hearts, freeing us from all evil and freeing all whom we have caused evil into and who have caused us evil, washing away all the connections that bind us. Even though we may not understand, we are freeing ourselves from all that causes us harm. feel this cleansing penetrate your soul and release. Now that we are spiritually cleansed, imagine yourself surrounded by the light of love from the hands of Jesus. At this moment, sing words of faith and gratitude, being faithful to the light that exists in me, planted by the zealous Father. Imagine the sunlight that surrounds and enraptures, freeing us from the chains of everything that holds us down, strengthening your faith. Allow yourself to trust in this light, surrender to it, involved in pleasant feelings and feeling relieved to receive the strengthening lights. Mentalize your spiritual mentors now applying divine light for the strengthening of your mind and your emotions, leaving you feeling emotionally revitalized. Let us now mentalize the magnetization of this water. May we mentalize all the friendly spirits, magnetizing this water and filling it with everything that our bodies, minds, and soul need, so that it may be of help to us when we drink it after the Pass. Thank you, God.
I would like to thank everyone for joining us tonight, and we will be back next Tuesday here on Spiritism Canada and Continental Concafras Americas at 8:30 p.m. East, and next Wednesday on Kardec Radio at 8 p.m. East. Have a good night.
Sometimes it's not so easy. Sometimes it's not so close. Sometimes we build our dreams, but then we see them decompose. When you feel down the dumps, feeling sad and blue, give life a chance, my friend, the sun will shine again on you. Believe you can come through. The rainy days are true. Have little faith in you. Maybe tomorrow you can dream all your dreams again. Though some sorrow remains, it doesn't mean the end. Believe you can come through. The rainy days are true. Sometimes okay to feel blue. Have little faith in you. Dream all the dreams again. Though some sorrow remains, your dreams can get you through. Have little faith